Y'all, can I tell you about these Tecovas boots? I don't know if y'all know this, but these boots are handmade, high quality, stylish, and comfortable right out of the box. I know we buy everything online these days, but boots are something you really should get fitted for. And it just so happens Tecovas is based right here in Austin. So come shop with me at the Tecovas store on South Congress or the Domain. That's TECOVAS.com. Don't go gently, y'all. Today on CityCast Austin, the University of Texas recently left the Big 12 Conference and is now in the Southeastern Conference competing with some old rivals and big talent. How will the Longhorns hold up in the SEC? I'm here with Danny Davis of the Austin American-Statesman to break it all down. CityCast Austin is brought to you by our exclusive launch sponsor, Tecovas. It's Monday, July 22nd. I'm Nikki Devon, and this is what Austin's talking about. I am here today with Danny Davis, sports reporter at the Austin American-Statesman. Hi, Danny.
Hey, glad to be here. Excited to talk a little bit about the Longhorns.
Me too. Okay, so we're going to dive right in. Recently, there was this big party at the University of Texas to celebrate UT joining the SEC, which is, again, the Southeastern Conference. We know Pitbull was there because Kelsey, our newsletter editor, loves him. And there was pyrotechnic drones and all kinds of other cool stuff. It seemed like a big deal.
It was actually my 10-year anniversary. And I decided that it was probably not worth going to a Pitbull concert and skipping that because I'd like to be married for another 10 years at least. So all the SEC people, their network, their TV personalities all came to Austin, did a day-long show. Texas opened up their entire campus. You could go tour buildings and stuff like that. And then at night, thousands of people out there. Pitbull came out. They had a big kind of pep rally with all the Texas dignitaries and administrators and the drone show and all fireworks, all that stuff. So Texas went all out, as Texas tends to do. And they definitely said, hey, we're here, we're Texas, we do things bigger in Texas, all those cliches, and they lived up to their reputation.
I mean, listen, we love a celebration. We love an opportunity to show off.
It lived up to what I expected them to do. I'll just say that.
I love that. Now, I have two questions. First of all, do we know why they even left in the first place?
Yeah, I got to talk with Chris Del Conte, the Texas athletic director, a couple weeks ago about this. And pretty much from Texas's standpoint, the future of college athletics is so up in the air. The Big 12's TV deal was up at 2025, and so Texas was concerned about what TV deal they're going to sign next. They're kind of wanted to figure out ways to bring in more revenue because there had been a tax issue with it used to be back in the day. Donors, when they bought their season tickets, could also donate a certain amount of money, and that could be a tax write-off.
Right.
And the Trump administration, cut those taxes, and so Texas wasn't going to see those donations anymore. And so they wanted to ensure that they'd have bigger games, and you do that by going to the SEC. You wanted to get a bigger TV deal and a bigger share of that TV money, which is going to happen in the SEC.
So I feel confident in saying, though I love football a lot, I don't really understand a lot of it. I do know that being in the SEC now means that the Texas Longhorns will once again play the Texas A&M Aggies.
Oh, yeah.
So I know that is like a huge, I went to UT, so I know enough to know that is a huge deal. But, I want to talk about that change, but I also want to talk about what else should we know? Why does this really matter?
Yeah, and that was actually another reason that Texas was interested in moving to the SEC is because, A, the Aggies are there, B, Arkansas is there. And those are two old school rivalries who, a lot of the older fans who donate a lot of money care a lot about. And, people who are in their 20s or 30s probably don't care about Arkansas. But if you're an older fan, you remember what those Razorbacks were like. And if you went to Arkansas, Texas played at Fayetteville in 2021. That was maybe the most insane atmosphere I have ever been around because of just the hatred that those Arkansas fans have for Texas and that they'd passed on to their kids. And it was absolutely electric. Texas is used to saying everyone hates us. And that night in Fayetteville may have been the most insane night of my life. Just hatred and animosity and loudness in Arkansas kicked Texas's butt that night. And so that just fueled it. It was the biggest party in Fayetteville that night. So,
fueled by just hate and animosity. I love a rivalry. I love it.
Texas gets those two rivalries back. Obviously, Oklahoma's coming with them, so they still get to keep that rivalry. But then, you have Alabama, which if you went to that game last year in Tuscaloosa, you know what that atmosphere is like. You get LSU, you get Florida, you get Auburn, you get teams that have national championships in their trophy cases and also are known for drawing huge crowds. Even, Ole Miss, they're not great at football, but a lot of Texas fans are still talking about a few years ago when they got to go down there and just the tailgate scene and how much the SEC, they love their football. I mean, and they love it not just when, the Big 12, all those schools sell out when Texas goes to town because it's Texas, but these SEC towns, they sell it regardless of who's in town because they love their football. It's the lifeblood of their small towns. It is a way of life in the SEC, and I think Texas fans are going to they're going to enjoy going to go tailgate and meet, fans from opposing schools and, go to these historic stadiums and just kind of experience this SEC atmosphere because it's a whole different thing.
SEC football is a lifestyle. I'm excited about it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm excited to get that rabid kind of excitement.
If you're a Texas fan, you may be like, Austin's a place to be and stuff like that. But that should also excite you to go witness what these other places are like. It should excite you to go to some of these other stadiums and kind of see what exactly that's like. And especially, that game in College Station the day after Thanksgiving this fall is going to be insane. And so if you can afford a ticket, because I'm sure those tickets are going to be absolutely crazy, but it's going to be awesome. Yeah.
For anyone who hasn't seen it before, the tailgating scene here is about to get crazy, first of all, because I feel like there's going to be a huge celebration of the fact that we are back in the SEC. And the tailgating scene here was already crazy, but it's nothing in comparison. You got to go see how it takes over an entire town. You know what I mean? Like in Austin, it takes over downtown. That is substantial. But in other places, I remember the first time I went to an OU tailgate, and I was like, "What in the entire there's nothing like it because it's the entire. It's huge. It's bigger. I feel like than ours."
Yeah, and I think one of Texas's problems, I think across sports, not just football can hold its own because it's 5-6 Saturdays a year, but it's Austin. There's so much to do here. It doesn't take, Texas is obviously the professional team here, and there are a lot of Texas fans and stuff like that. But, you have everyone moving in. I mean, I'm an out-of-stater. I don't root for the Longhorns. I could really, if they win or lose, it doesn't really impact my life. My wife is a Longhorn, and my son is a Texas fan. But, I root for the University of Montana. That's my school. That's all I know. I root for the teams from up north. But, these small towns, if you live in Fayetteville, Arkansas, you're a Razorback fan.
That's it.
There's probably not that many people who are rooting for the Oregon Ducks who are willingly living in Fayetteville. And so every Saturday, and you go to some of their softball games and some of their basketball games, and it's insane because that's what you do in Fayetteville, Arkansas. And so yes, to your point, Arkansas, there's 6 family reunions every fall, and the entire town is your family. And so that's just what those atmospheres are like. And it's really cool to kind of witness from afar. And for the most part, maybe not Arkansas because they hate Texas, but I'm sure if you're a Texas fan and you're going to, an Ole Miss game, or they don't play at Florida this year, or Tennessee and stuff like that, you can wander out there and they're going to throw you a beer and, they may talk a little smack to you, but for the most part, people are pretty cool when it comes to tailgating before the game. Maybe after the game, I don't know.
Maybe not so much. You need to go before. So we're about to start the new school year, new football season, whole shebang. So do you have a preview of the football team? Who should we be watching for? Is there any drama? Who has the best social media? What's the team looking like?
I think that drama associated with the football team is kind of manufactured by us in the media because everyone loves Arch Manning, who's the backup quarterback, as opposed to Quinn Ewers. We're used to him as the third year as a starter, and everyone wants Arch, but Quinn's better right now. But I don't think there's much drama with this team, which I think is kind of how they want it. This is a team that made the college football playoffs last year. If Texas doesn't make the playoffs, it's going to be a problem. Yeah, granted, they are moving into a new conference. You have these big dogs that Texas is going to have to fight with for that SEC title, but I think going into the season, people are going to expect Texas to contend for a national championship. And if they don't make the playoff, and if they don't, contend for that title, it's going to be a disappointing season. This should be a good team, and Texas fans should be, watching meaningful football in December.
I'm excited about it, and I have not been excited about UT football in a long time. I don't know what the SEC. It's something about the Riz. When is the first game? Who are we playing? What's the first game?
First game is August 31st, I believe, and it's Colorado State. Yep, it's coming up. I had to work the next week and a half, and I'm gonna take 2 weeks off, and then all of a sudden practice is gonna be here, and it's gonna be full blast, and you're gonna blink, and well, it's football season.
Okay, I'm going to shift gears because this is going to affect all sports, right? UT's women's basketball have been fun to watch, but full disclosure, the last time I even knew what was happening in UT's women's basketball was the Jody Conrad era.
We all love Jody. Jody's still very present and very around the program. I see her all the time at the Moody Center and sometimes at practices. She's still very present with that program.
She's the GOAT. But I feel like the love of UT women's basketball has just been consistent, right? So what do you think their season is going to be like?
Since Vic Schaefer took over 4 years ago, they've been consistent. Big 12 is probably a little bit more competitive with the SEC than it is in football. This is not going to be easy. Texas has to play South Carolina twice this upcoming season. LSU's coming to Austin to go play at the Moody Center with Kim Mulkey, who Texas fans are very familiar with from her time at Baylor.
I keep hearing this name.
Yep, she loves to be the heel. Like she is. She does not mind being the bad guy. I think she kind of feeds off it and loves it. And she's definitely one of those coaches who, if she is your coach, you love her to death. If she is not your coach, well, there's probably some bad words you want to say about her when there's not microphones around. But she's a lot of fun to cover. I love whenever I get to go to a Kim Mulkey press conference because she's always going to have something shady to say or some sarcastic remark to make. So I'm excited to see her come into Austin. But this is going to be a tough test for this team. Luckily for them, it's a veteran team. And they're getting Rory Harmon, who's one of the country's best players, back from a knee injury that ended her this past season in December. So she'll be pretty much, they bring their entire starting lineup back. They got a transfer in from Michigan. Rory's coming back. So this is a team that's going to be top 5 in the preseason poll. And they should be expected to get to the Final Four. It's just a matter of whether or not they can actually do it because they've fallen short a couple times over the last few seasons.
I mean, I'm hearing UT domination. That's kind of that's the vibe I'm getting from you right now.
They're going to be competitive, and they're going to be expected to do well. There's not going to be a grace period for this Texas team. Like people are going to expect them to compete right away, and this is a matter of getting over that hump. This is a school that outside of volleyball. And the team sports hasn't been winning many national championships recently, and that's going to have to happen with a lot of these programs sooner rather than later. And no one's going to if they go in the SEC and finish in last place, no one's going to be like, oh, that's too bad. This is adjustment period. People are going to be mad. So it's that's the thing at Texas. The stakes are bigger as well as the Pitbull concerts.
We do like to win. We like to be at the top. So me and the team have been obsessed with what's been going on in baseball. Talk a little bit about the backstory, this Aggies baseball team and the World Series and the coach swapping and all of that stuff.
Yes, I mean, I guess the backstory is you have to go back maybe 6-7 years. Whenever Chris Del Conte came to be the athletic director at Texas in December 2017, and he was at TCU before then. And when he was at TCU, his baseball coach was Jim Schlossnagel, and they became really close. Like they're good friends. They talk all the time. And so you flash forward to this season. Texas was all right. They made the tournament. Were competitive, but hadn't really been competing for national titles recently. And so Texas decided to make a coaching change. And of course, the first person Chris calls is his old friend Jim, who's currently the coach at Texas A&M at this point, had been there for the last 3 seasons. Unfortunately for Aggie fans, the timeline of it just was kind of chaotic. Texas, even though their season had ended a few weeks earlier, waited until the Monday of the College World Series finale to announce David's firing. Texas A&M was playing that night in a winner-takes-all game. Immediately, everyone starts to connect the dots. Oh, Jim and Chris know each other. Texas is going to go try to get their coach. So that was a quote-unquote distraction. Texas A&M goes out and loses that game, a 6-5, dramatic, crazy game. Jim goes to his post-game press conference, acts like a child, and starts berating a reporter for having the nerve to ask him about the Texas game. And then less than 24 hours later, Texas hires him away. And so if you're a Texas A&M Aggie fan, you go from, in a 24-hour span, competing for your first national title in any sport in like 80 years or something like that. Then all of a sudden you lose your baseball coach. And not only do you lose your baseball coach, but you lose them to that school 2 hours away in Austin that you absolutely hate. It's not like he left to go to Tennessee or Florida or some school on the West Coast. Maybe in that case, you're like, I'm disappointed you're leaving, but I get it. Pat him on the back and send him a gift basket on his way out. But he's leaving to Austin, and you have to see him now because now you're going to the same conference. Some of the things I've heard the Aggies call Jim, I wouldn't repeat because I'm a Christian boy and I go to church every Sunday. But I get it. Like I understand why they're so angry and why they're so mad, because that was a gut punch after gut punch over those 24 hours. That was rough.
I mean, just when we were, we couldn't stop talking about it. Like, just, it's so dramatic.
It's Bravo TV stuff. Like, I don't even get that kind of drama when I'm watching when I'm sneaking a glance at my wife watching Housewives. I don't even get that kind of drama. So
Housewives of the SEC.
Yeah, I guess it was definitely something. But that's also going to make Texas. It's going to be hosting A&M this 2025 season. But when Texas has to go back in 2026, like, that's going to be insane.
Oh, my God. So, okay, I'm going to shift gears. The Olympics are coming up, taking place from July 26th to August 11th in France. There will be some Longhorns there, right?
There's 37 players and coaches who are going to be participating in the Olympics, either as coaches or as athletes. So
37?
37.
From UT?
Yep. Not all on campus. Some of them are former Longhorns, but,
Still.
You have your Kevin Durant's, you have your Tara Davis Woodhall, who's going to be jumping at the Olympics. Texas always produces swimmers, so they have a handful of swimmers. They actually had an availability a couple weeks ago with like 10 swimmers who are either former Longhorns or training under the Texas coaches. Texas is sending 3 swimming coaches to help out with various countries. Over to Paris. So. Swimming and track is obviously what Texas is kind of known for producing. Lulu's son, who just had that great Wimbledon run, she's participating in the Olympics as well. Rowing, they're sending a couple rowers over. They will always win national championships in rowing. So Texas is an Olympic sport school, and the Olympics is where they get. Back in the day, back when the statesman had a lot more money, we'd send someone to the Olympics every 4 years, the Summer Olympics. Unfortunately, we haven't done that the last couple Olympics. But if you're a Texas fan, it's going to be a nice 2 weeks of parking your butt in front of the TV and watching NBC for those 2 weeks.
Nice. Into it. It's hot anyway.
Yeah.
It's hot. So I guess evidently a total of 14 athletes and 3 coaches with ties to the University of Texas will represent the Team USA in Paris. And then, like you said, other coaches will be spread out. That's amazing. I'm sorry. That's kind of incredible. I want to ask you a really random question. Because of morbid curiosity. What is Matthew McConaughey like on the sidelines of UT football games? He's the minister of culture, right? But to me, he is like the uncle at the cookout that's just like walking around in everybody's business and interjecting himself in everybody's conversations. Is that close? Like, what is he like?
All right, this is where I get into trouble. I can't stand that dude. Like, I really detest his presence at Texas games. Like, he is the super fan, and it does seem like Steve Sarkisian and the coaches before him, Tom Herman, and some whenever he goes to a basketball game, like, they tolerate maybe too harsh of a word, but they do appreciate his presence, and the players do seem to enjoy getting their picture with him or dapping him up on the sideline and stuff like that. It bothers me that he's kind of the symbol of Texas fandom, because this is a school that has really great, passionate fans who go to every football game. They go to every, Scott Wilson's been like 1,500 straight Texas baseball games, home and away.
What?
You know, there's fans who dish out a ton of money for just tickets at the Moody Center and stuff like that. And Matthew McConaughey shows up to 3 football games a year, and maybe 1 basketball game. And it's always like the premier game. It's the game that's going to be on the prime time TV station where he's going to get a lot of airtimes, and people think that's what fandom is. He doesn't go to women's sports, which really bothers me. At a school like Texas, you never see him at a baseball game. But he's the minister of culture. He's the what Texas fandom is supposed to be. Like, I mean, give me a break. Like,
you are blowing my mind right now.
He does a lot of work for the community, and people obviously love him at the school, and he does bring exposure to the school. But my definition of a true Texas fan is someone who's with the team at these garbage games, who's supporting the women at this university, because the women's athletic program is carrying this university and has been for years, especially when this, the football team was not great, and the men's basketball program hasn't been anything to brag about for years. But, you have a volleyball program that's winning national championships left and right. The women's basketball team has been better than the men for a long time. The softball team just got to the final at the Women's College World Series, while the baseball team was bounced in the first round. But, Matthew McConaughey can't be bothered to, make an appearance in any of these matches, but he is not my cup of tea, and I just don't understand it. I don't get it.
Oh my God, that is the tea. I love it. I did not know he doesn't come to women's games. I did not know that.
Every once in a while, his wife will show up, but I've never seen Matthew McConaughey at a women's athletic event at Texas. And trust me, if he showed up, they'd be blowing that stuff up on social media and on every platform they have. So I don't feel like I've missed it. So, but
okay, well, what's good, Matthew? Why you ain't supporting the ladies? I don't understand. But anything we should be looking out in the school year? Anything else that we haven't covered?
It's going to be, this first year in the SEC is definitely going to keep me busy. If you're a fan of the Longhorns, I think you're going to have a lot to cheer about, and I think this move is probably going to reinvigorate a lot of fans and us in the media, and hopefully the athletes and the coaches too. It should be a fun fall, a fun winter, and a fun spring, especially when Texas and Texas A&M play baseball against each other.
I am so excited. I am so ready. Somebody send me some tickets. I need a ticket so I can be there for the drama. Danny, thank you so much for being with me today. This has been awesome and informative, and I feel like I got some scalding hot Matthew McConaughey tea, and I am here for it.
All the McConaughey fans can find me on Twitter. I'll be glad to say the exact same thing to them when they get on
with your whole chest.
Yep.
I love it. I love it. That's all for today here on CityCast Austin. McConaughey fans, you can find links to Danny's social media in our show notes. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell a friend, rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our Hey Austin newsletter. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Bye, y'all.